Hey you guys, welcome to the Greatest Common Factor Station. So, a lot of us have probably heard of Greatest Common Factor before, but today we might think about it in a new way. So, if we looked at the equation, like 2 times x plus 4 equals 0, and your teacher asked you to simplify, what a lot of you might say is that we should distribute. We distribute our 2 to the x and our 2 to the 4. And we would see that 2x plus 8 equals 0. When we think about greatest common factor, we want to think about this scenario, but backwards. So if I gave you 2x plus 8 equals 0, I'd ask you to think about what term I can remove from my first term and my second term. What is the greatest thing that they both have in common? So in this case, I would see that we could remove a 2 from both of these. So I'd want to divide both of them by 2 and remove it. And we could rewrite this as 2. 2x divided by 2 would leave me with x plus 8 divided by 2 gives me 4 equals 0. So 2 more ways we might see this. Sometimes it might not appear this easy. We might have something like 16x plus 64 equals 0. So here is how I could approach this, right? I know 16 and 64, those look like pretty big numbers, but I know that I could remove a 2 from both. So let me start there by removing a 2 from both one of these terms. So we could have 2, 16 divided by 2 would give me 8x, and 64 divided by 2 would give me 32 equals 0. All right, but now I recognize I can still remove some numbers from here. So I know that I can divide 8 and 32 by 8. So let me try to divide both of these by 8. And I will take that number out. So on the outside, I'll have 8 times 2, which gives me 16. 8x divided by x leaves me x. And 32 divided by 8 gives me 4 equals 0. So this would be 16 would be my greatest common factor. One last way that we might see this is if we have 4x cubed minus x squared equals 0. So in this example, I look at my numbers and I see that although I have a 4 with my first term, there's no number with my second term, so I cannot remove a number. But I see that I have multiple variables that I could remove. So the greatest amount of variables that I could remove from each of these are going to be 2 x's. So I want to remove an x squared. So when I pull this out, we will have x squared times 4x cubed minus x squared will leave me with 4x, because I know that 3 minus 2 is equal to 1, minus x squared over x squared. That means I will just have 1 remaining, equals 0. Now, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to talk to each other or to call your teacher over, and we would love to answer them.